All right, this exercise is 50 ways to talk to just 5 people. So why do we want to come up with 50 ways to talk to 5 people? The first reason is we're going to reduce your anxiety in 2 ways around talking to customers. The first is that we're going to come up with 50 potential venues for you to talk to customers. And why that might be important is think about if I told you to go onto a subway car and talk to 5 people on a subway car. Okay, now think about and feel the anxiety in your body as you're going to approach someone and they're used to being alone. They're listening to music or they're reading something and you have to like tap them on the shoulder and interrupt them. For me, that's anxiety inducing, that idea. Now, shift it and I said, you know what? I want you to go into a senior center and I want you to talk to 5 people there. And now imagine, walking into a group where maybe people are sitting and just sort of looking out the window, or maybe they're having conversations with each other, and they look up at you and they sort of automatically smile because they're excited to have a friendly face to talk to. Now, for me, I automatically just feel more at ease, and I feel like I can have 5 conversations in a senior center in an hour and be done, right? Like I can nail that out. So by coming up with 50 different places for you to have these conversations, we're going to find at least a couple that you naturally feel more comfortable in. And so we're going to reduce some of the anxiety around going out and talking to customers, which, by the way, is very natural. We all have. I have it, and the reason why we're coming up with these tools is to help reduce it. The second way we're going to reduce the anxiety is by only concentrating on 5 conversations at a time. Again, same scenarios. If you're forced to go talk to 50 people versus forcing yourself to talk to 5 people, eventually you probably are going to talk to a lot more than 5 people. But we're just going to take our first stab at it because your first interviews are the sort of the most nerve-wracking to get out of the way. So we're gonna go and get you in front of some customers, get you used to talking to them, and you'll see that not only is it not as scary as it might seem, it's actually much more rewarding for the interviewee and much more rewarding for you, the interviewer, than you might think. All right, the second reason we want to do this is we're going to identify out of these 50 different ways to talk to 5 people, we're going to identify the fastest way for you to go talk to customers because that's what this is about. We're trying to get you out of the building and talking to customers as quickly as possible. So by broadening our net and looking for 50 different ways to go find these people, we're going to hopefully identify some of the fastest ones for you. And third, this is a process that's going to lay the foundation for your channel building later on. So we're going to use this list of 50 later on to think about, wait, if that was a way to talk to a person, maybe it's also a way to put our product in front of them. So this is going to help maybe be the foundation of your marketing efforts going on. So don't have to worry too much about that. We're just sort of building that into the process for you. There are 2 keys to this process that are going to make it successful for you. The first is there are no bad ideas. This is a classic brainstorming exercise, so anything that pops in your head, I want you to write it down. Quantity is going to be more important than quality, and I say that because the quality will come. I've done this exercise enough, and I know that you put enough ideas down, good ones are going to end up popping into your head. So lots and lots of ideas. That's really where we want to focus, not necessarily good ideas or bad ideas. So don't hate on yourself. Don't be mean to yourself. Anything that pops in your head, it's a good idea. Put it on paper. The second thing is that the ideas that you come up with, they intentionally do not need to scale. Yeah? You're only looking for 5 conversations. So any idea where you can scrape together 5 conversations with the people you're trying to talk to is a good idea here. So don't worry if you're not going to be able to talk to 1,000. You just need 5. Okay. Last thing I'm going to say before we dive into the exercise is that what we're doing here at a meta level is borrowing heavily from the design process, where we have just gone through an exercise where we've focused our attention on one set of early adopters. All right, so we narrowed in the design thinking frame of mind. We started to narrow. Now what we're going to do is we're going to broaden again. Okay, and so we're going to broaden our intention. We're going to broaden from one group of people to 50 different ways to find those group of people. And then eventually we'll refocus again. We'll go from 50 down to 1, right? Eventually. So just know that this is a part of a very natural and proven process where we are finding our way by broadening our horizons and then refocusing, broadening and refocusing until we get our energy right where we want it. Okay, so with that, let's dive into the actual exercise. So we remember from last time when we scaled the segments, from my example, we were going to say we're going to target Fitbit owners who are comparing fitness apps on Product Hunt. We thought that was going to be the best bang for our buck. So that's the group of people that I want to try and find. So I'm going to take my worksheet here, my 50 ways to talk to 5 people, and I'm going to throw that customer into my first blank here underneath my early adopter description. So Fitbit owners on Product Hunt. Now the problem that I hypothesize they have, I'm going to put in this section over here, and that is they aren't meeting their fitness goals. They have a Fitbit, but they're still not meeting their fitness goals, and so maybe they're a little frustrated with their Fitbit or their previous purchases. So step 2, I'm going to list out 10 different channels, loosely call them channels here, where we might be able to find these type of people who are explicitly suffering from this problem. Now again, no bad ideas. So just list out the ones you have for your company, and I'm going to do the same for mine. So obviously it makes sense. I would go search on Product Hunt for app comments. I join a running club, Fitbit app reviewers on blogs. Anyway, I'm going to come up with a bunch of these things. And what I want you to notice about this list is that A, not all of the ideas are good ideas, right? So what I threw down for 10 was gym goers. And gym goers are explicitly not this segment, right? It's a different group of people. It's not people on Product Hunt. This is people at a gym. But that's okay. Remember, we're broadening. There are no bad ideas. Well, eventually, we're going to refocus again. So it's okay if there are bad ideas. Just get at least 10 down from anywhere you can think of. Now, after you go through these, I came up with 12 here. You can come up with 10, but make sure you have at least 10. Go ahead and circle any that you feel like you could quickly have 5 conversations. Any ones that you feel comfortable with that may be a good idea. You could have none. That's just fine. Out of this list of 12, there's only one that I feel like, you know what? If I focused people who posted on Fitbit's Facebook page about some sort of app, like maybe they were recommending someone else's app or they were asking for a feature in a Fitbit app, I could probably find 5 of those really quickly. Like within a day, I could go through a bunch of those people on Facebook's page. I could, on the Facebook page, Fitbit Facebook page, I could go out and I could send messages to them, and I could probably have 5 conversations with people fairly quickly. So I'm just going to circle that one. I want you to do the same for yours. Next up, step 3. I want you to think of 5 more ways to talk to people, and I want you specifically to think about social media. So ways you can use social media to find these people. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to drill in. You probably already have some social media ideas on your original 10, but we're going to really hit this hard and sort of exhaust the social media way for you to access these people. So some ideas to think about for social media. Twitter. Yeah, if you can find some people on Twitter, how can you use Twitter to find the people you're trying to have a conversation with? How about Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Google+, LinkedIn profiles? So these are a bunch of different things, and I want you to think about each one of those different social media tools and how you might be able to use them to help have just 5 conversations with people. Okay, so in my case, I came up with 6. Got to come up with at least 5. Again, circle any that you feel confident that you could quickly have 5 conversations. Now, if you can have them in a day, within 2 days, within a week, whatever time frame feels good to you, or whatever methods you feel sort of confident or comfortable in. For me, if I could quickly search Twitter profiles and find people who mentioned quantified self, I feel like I could go and just send them a quick tweet and ask them, hey, would you be willing to have a conversation about, if they had mentioned qualified self and they had tweeted about Fitbit, then if I could find them, I could quickly send them a tweet and say, hey, I'm looking for some feedback on an idea I'm thinking about. Do you have a couple minutes to talk about Fitbit? I feel like that could work, so I'm circling that one. All right, next up, step 4. I want you to come up with 5 more ways, but this time we're going to focus on forums and group pages. All right, so here are my examples: Google Groups, Yahoo Groups, Reddit, Hacker News, and so this one I came up with a lot in. Again, you're looking for at least 5. So here are some places to go look for. Look for content-specific sites. So people might have a forum or community dedicated exactly to the problem that you're having. So think about those content-specific sites. Think about LinkedIn groups that are centered around the problem you're trying to solve. Think about Quora. Quora is a great place to go find some people. Mailing lists like Yahoo Groups, Google Groups, if you can find a listserv somewhere. Stack Overflow for development type questions. Product Hunt for anything app related. Facebook groups. Craigslist is another place you can go and find people. So if you're looking for people who are searching for used cars or looking for help with nannies or want contractors, Craigslist is a great place to look. Hacker News is a great place to look for developers and engineers. Reddit is a great place to look for young people who are on the internet a lot, and there's great communities there. Also, checking out a product's support group or support community, like their user voice page. You're going to find a lot of people there, voting up features or providing comments. So you might be able to look there for some ideas. So you can see here, I filled out a lot for these. There was a lot of groups that came to mind for me. And then when it came time to circle the ones that I could quickly have conversations, I found quite a bit. Like I feel like if there's any people who are mentioning Fitbit on Reddit, they'd be willing to talk to me. If anyone who's talking about quantified self on Reddit, Hacker News, Fitbit's user voice group, all those feel like they're sort of a rich place for me to have conversations, and I could definitely have 5 very quickly. So go ahead and circle up yours as well. Now we're going to flip the sheet over. Step 5. List 5 ways you can use influencers to find your early adopters. And by influencers, what I mean are bloggers, people who are blogging about the things that you're talking about. YouTube channels, if someone has a YouTube channel focused on your problem. People who do speaking or workshops, you can look for those. Those are influencers you might be able to look for. People who are reviewing software or reviewing applications that are related to the problem you're solving. So they could be on blogs or they could be on the actual in-store app reviewers. Professors, academia, these are also places that you might be able to look. People who have are highly recommended for on a specific skill on LinkedIn. You know how you can vote people up on LinkedIn for their skill sets. So that's another place to go look. So from here, the ones I liked, fitness tech blogger commenters. So if someone's on a fitness tech blog and they are leaving comments fairly frequently, I think that they're bought into this space, especially if they're mentioning Fitbit. So if I can go find some of those blogs and look for those commenters, I might be able to reply to them and quickly have conversations with them. So that was the one I liked from there. So number 6. Find 5 ways to use similar services to the one you're thinking about to find early adopters. Now, similar services, they could mean straight up competitors to the thing you want to build. They can also mean complementary services. So things that complement the service offering that you're trying to provide. So ways that you can use competition or complementary services, look for competitors' app reviews. If they're reviewing someone else's app that's similar to what you want to build and they're leaving negative comments, then they are very likely to be willing to have a conversation with you. All right, so here are mine, and then I'm going to call out bloggers writing about a similar or competing app, users in another app's forums or Facebook groups who are leaving feedback. Again, the user voice, a competitor's user voice community might work. Twitter, people who are talking about another product on Twitter or on Facebook. So think about ways that you can leverage similar services to go find people who are having the problems that you want to solve. For me, of this list, there were 2 things that popped out. If I can go onto Facebook and find a competitor's page that people are commenting, I might be able to have some conversations there. Same thing if a fitness support group on Facebook. If people are talking about Fitbit and using tools and apps on some sort of fitness support Facebook group, I feel like they would be open to having a conversation with me again. Only need 5. All right, step 7. List 5 more ways that you can use meetups or conferences to find these early adopters. So by meetups and conferences, I'm meaning like self-organized conferences. I'm talking about conferences that represent like an entire professional organization or professional group, like official trade organizations. Yearly conferences, maybe there's monthly meetups, maybe there are weekly meetups, maybe there are local meetups versus global ones, maybe there are virtual meetups that you can attend. This is also falls in the category if you want to host your own meetups. You can often find it's very easy sometimes to create a meetup around a certain problem, see if you can get people to attend. If you can just get 5 people to attend, then you may have already met your interviewing criteria. So, yeah, that's what I've got here. Conferences, accountability groups, accountability meetups, hosting my own groups. And actually, that was one that I thought I could do fairly quickly. I could host my own fitness accountability meetup. Within a week, I could put something up and then have people attend, and I can get my interviews done. All right, we're doing really well. We're almost done here. We got 2 left. Step 8, I want you to think about 5 more ways you can use cold contacts to find early adopters. And by cold contacts, what I mean doing web searches, LinkedIn searches, writing a crawler, or using some sort of data scraper like Kimono to go find people, doing cold calls, old-fashioned cold calls. These are all ways that you can go out and basically just find the people you want to talk to and then cold contact them. Again, we're only looking for 5, so it can't be that hard to do that. So if I'm looking for, to talk to people who might recommend this, a personal trainer on Yelp, I can find 5 personal trainers on Yelp instantly. I have their phone number. I can call them up and say, hey, you know what? I'm working on a project to help people meet their fitness goals. Do you have a couple minutes to talk? Yeah? So that's an easy, low-hanging fruit that I could go out and I could find those people. Personal Trainers Association directory, LinkedIn. This Googling Fitbit and still fat, maybe someone out there has written a blog post about that. It might be easy for me to just Google that and find them. So I'm going to circle the things on here that I think are going to be super fast for me. That one seems to work. All right, and number 9, last one. Find at least 5 more ways to use old school channels to find your early adopters. By old school, I mean things like mailers, doing stuff in person, flyers, standing outside with a sandwich board, going on the street, going to festivals or concerts or fairs, going door to door. Like, this is old school, non-online marketing, in person, face-to-face, rubber meets the road, shaking hands, that kind of stuff. Again, we're only looking for 5, so we don't need a ton of these. They don't need a scale. So go crazy here. Obviously, I was able to come up with quite a few here. Of course, I didn't circle any of them because none of them are particularly interesting to me, but still, you do the same. You might find that there are some in here that you really like. And when I look at my entire sheet, I've got well over 50 ideas here, and like well over 10 of them I feel good about, right? 10 I feel like I could probably get done within a day, if not a couple days, right? So just like that, just by going through each one of these different categories systematically, you will build a huge list of ways to talk to people that you can not only use for these interviews, but you might be able to use later as well. So the results from mine, I had over 58 ways to have 5 conversations, and 11 of them I feel really good about, right? I can get done really quickly. So you should go ahead and do the same, and hopefully your numbers will look similar, if not even better than this. Okay, again, just to recap, why did we do this? Well, we're hopefully going to reduce your anxiety. By providing so many different ways that you can get out and talk to people, you're going to find some that you feel comfortable doing. We're also aiming only at 5 conversations, right? What's the fastest way for you to get out and have your 5 conversations so that you can get the ball rolling and start getting some feedback on the problem that you want to solve, and so you can sort of crack the nut of having your very first interview, so we can get those out of the way so you can see how easy and comfortable they can actually be. All right, I talked about this already. This is about getting out of the building really quickly. So now that we have those 5, and then or 50, and then we've identified the ones you like best, soon we're going to go narrow those down even further from the ones you like best down to just 1 or maybe 2 that you're going to go after and really focus on so that you can get results really quickly. And number 3, we've started to identify your best channel. So don't worry about it too much, but we've laid the groundwork for a foundation for later tests here by having this list of 50. So don't throw this list away. It's going to be helpful later on. Well, there you go. You have just discovered at least 50 ways to talk to 5 people.